Welcome back, fellow shop rats. It's another Talk About It Tuesday, and today we're going to talk about authenticity and transparency. Ooh, I bet you see right through that one, don't you? Don't go away. We're going to talk about it. I'm Mike.
This is My Cars Shop.
I was actually having a conversation with my buddy John from the Life at Speed channel yesterday, and he was talking about that from the time he and I started our channels in 2019-ish, there was about 30 million users on YouTube. And today, 4 or 5 years later, there is now 60 million people on YouTube, content creators, people who are putting stuff out. Now, some people put out a lot, some people put out a little, and there's all kinds of varying degrees in all of that, but that's a lot of people. And I mentioned to him, I'm so glad that I started this channel in 2019 rather than starting it today, because I think starting a YouTube channel today would be pretty tough. Be a tough road to go if you're trying to grow something into a channel of any size and significance that would generate a revenue stream for you. Now, I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm just saying I think that the market space is a lot smaller than it used to be. And that leads me into my topic for today, which we've talked about a little bit before, but again, I see things differently, and so I like to circle back around and talk about them again. Over the 5 seasons of doing the MKS show, I've kind of ranged around and floundered around a little bit, trying to find my voice and my approach and just exactly what I wanted my thing to be. It reminds me in some ways of the early days of the band, when it was really a struggle to do songs. We've never been a cover band, but it was really a struggle to do songs and do them in my own voice, find my own sound, find my own thing, rather than singing like Alice Cooper or Paul Stanley or David Bowie or other people that I've been compared to over the years. And I think I've gotten there because I don't think about it anymore. I just do it. The only time I get in a little bit of trouble is Scott will call me out once in a while when I'm doing stage banter and say, "Knock it off, Paul." Gee, I don't know why. That was terrible, and I know that. But I do have a tendency to fall into that a little bit, the Paul Stanley preacher voice on stage. But that's not the point. The point here is that I think in everything we do, we grow into it, and we don't know exactly what we're doing when we begin. I certainly didn't have any idea what I was doing when I started the YouTube channel, except I knew I was going to fix stuff, and I was going to share what I do, because that was what my darling bride encouraged me to do. Was, you have a particular set of skills that make you a nightmare for... No, wait a minute, that's Liam Neeson. It's only been the last couple years that I realized that I was doing the one bite at a time thing on the channel, and it's all kind of come together. Even though I was already doing 3 episodes, I wasn't doing Talk About It on Tuesdays for a while. I would do those occasionally. We called them whiteboard episodes back in the day. So, we grow into things. But the one thing that has really kind of risen to the surface that I hope sets the MKS channel apart is the 2 words that I shared in the intro to the intro, and that is being authentic and being transparent. I think those are key. I think that you guys and gals can smell a phony a mile away, and somebody who's being real and genuine, and which is what I really strive to do. Now, let me rephrase that. I don't strive to be real and genuine. I think I'm a pretty real, genuine, authentic person. But I strive to not let the BS slip in whenever possible. Now, we're here to have fun, obviously, and there's posturing and all kinds of other stuff. And early on, I definitely was a little more insecure in what I was doing on the channel, and I wished I had done some of those early videos differently. But again, it is what it is. So que sera, sera. I think that transparency in letting you see what I'm doing, the good, the bad, the ugly, letting you see it unfold as I'm seeing it unfold, so to speak, even though I'm usually 4 to 6 weeks out on production. what I'm filming is not preconceived and well edited as far as chopping out mistakes. And we have that on the roof of Stitches. We're kind of in a holding pattern right now with that, but we fixed that big dent area and discovered that there's another depression area in there that needs to be shrunk to get that out of there. And we're going to do that soon, but I'm just waiting for the planets to align and have time. But the point is, I didn't have to share that. I could have made it look like, we fixed the dent and there it is, everything's good. I could have hidden that little shrinking thing that needs to be done and not shared that with you and fixed it off camera, and nobody would have ever known the difference. But I don't think that's authentic, and it's certainly not transparent, and I don't think it gives you a realistic view of the stuff that happens as we're in the process of repairing and restoring cars. I know that as a result of that, sometimes, especially people that are brand new to the channel and don't understand the context of the channel, sometimes they can appear to be a little bit of a bumbling idiot who doesn't know what he's doing. I've certainly had comments like that, and I will say, here's a quarter, and call somebody who cares, because I really don't care what anybody thinks about me. Not that there aren't times that the things that people say aren't hurtful, but I really don't care what somebody says or thinks about me. I am what I am, like Popeye the Sailor Man. I share what I do. And I'm not saying certainly that I've never edited something out that was a bonehead move. I can only think of a couple times that I remember doing that, and sometimes it was just for continuity, where in the editing process it just made sense that really didn't need to be there. I can remember one or two times doing something going, I'm just going to leave that out of the video. And I don't even remember what it was. It wasn't anything major. But I really do strive for, as much as I can, to be authentic and transparent. I literally just sat here for a couple minutes thinking, what were the things that I didn't share? And I can't even remember what they were, so that's how significant they were. I mean, you've seen me catch stuff on fire. My shop is not always maintained by Susie Homemaker. There's all kinds of stuff that could be better, but I try to share transparently the process, not the finished product, because I think process is important. I think there's things to be gleaned from and learned from seeing the mistakes and the failures of somebody else. If you can learn from my mistakes and my failures, well, I can be an example, even if it's an example of what not to do. We've mentioned before that there's great entertainment value in watching some of the shows on television that bring a car into the shop and turn out a finished product at the end of the hour. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I don't think there's a whole lot to be learned from that. And that's the tension, and that's the challenge, is where is it, the line between education and entertainment versus just plain old boring. And I don't know if I have that figured out yet. But I at least try to be engaging in what I'm thinking, and even if it's flawed in the moment, 3 weeks from now I may change my mind about something. You get to see the processing and the cogitating that goes into something. And as you've heard me say before, there's thinking involved, and it hurts. I'm not good at it at all. I suppose it's kind of like reading a book versus reading the Cliff Notes. And I think that there is value in sharing the narrative, in sharing the full story with you guys and gals as we work on all the various projects around the shop. But it's been really poignant to me lately, particularly in the shop cleanup series, because that borderlines on vulnerability for me. That's a level of transparency that leaves me a little bit uncomfortable. I don't mind you seeing my shop being a mess, but sharing some of the struggle that I've had my entire life, said it's not vulnerable. Vulnerable means exposing oneself to harm. I'm certainly not ever going to do that. I'm not going to open myself up to the point that will allow me to be hurt in some way. But it borderlines on it sometimes with the transparency there, because it's a little uncomfortable. I know somebody commented a while ago about Well, I watched a shop organization episode a couple years ago, and your shop is still just a big rat nest. Actually, it's not. I'm going to get to that actually on my next shop organization video, so I'm not going to say too much about that. But I think seeing somebody share the struggle there's a level of it's authenticity, obviously, and I think there's a level that even if you're one of the neat and cleany people, there's something there that you can respect and maybe even learn from, even if it's not so much that you apply to your own organizational styles, but helps you understand other people around you that may be more like me and more of a messy person, and helps get some insight into the way they think and function. So that's my thoughts today. You're here on the channel, obviously there must be something that resonates with you. It's maybe you're here just for the do the work, puppet boy, and shut up, melt some metal and bend some stuff. That's what we're here to see. But I don't think so. I think most of you are here for various reasons, but overall it's about just sharing the experience of what happens in and around my car shop. All right, that's going to do it for this one. I really appreciate you being here, and we will. If you're here, I'll be here. We'll catch you on the next one. Don't forget. Rah, rah, rah.